work in Southeast Texas, you know Mo Davis. Every kid that touched San Jack Fire Academy had the Mo Daddy experience, one of the most respected South Union captains to ever grace the polished floors of 46's house. Chief Davis is a decorated fireman who leads as a fireman. He sets the example that I personally strive to reach each day I walk into a firehouse. I don't think there could be a better introduction for the man who's about to come up and speak to you. So, warm round of applause. Let's kick it off with Chief Mo Davis.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me? Hey, thanks for that, brother. That means a lot. So, my name's Mo Davis. I'm a fireman. I kind of ruffle feathers because I think that's what we have to do. Aggressive command is no more than doing what we're supposed to do for the people we protect. It's nothing crazy. I threw the word aggressive in there just to get people's attention. Any fire chiefs in here? I know my buddy back here. I'll probably hurt some feelings back there. If it's not you, just ignore it. I know my buddy back there because I believe that's the way it's supposed to be. They have a job, we have a job, right? Who's the district chiefs in here? Any district chiefs? We're the problems. You agree? Your chief's not here. You can agree?
Absolutely.
Chiefs are the problem. We hold you guys back. We got to get away from that. We got to be better than that. So there was a guy in Phoenix a few years ago that came up and he started all this crazy stuff that ruined the fire service. I don't even have to say his name. You guys know who it is. He started laying catch terms, risk a lot, save a lot, risk nothing to save nothing. And if you have to tell a fireman to be nice, you hired the wrong guy. Right? So then his minions went all out over the country and tried to ruin the fire service. But guess what? We're taking it back. Every conference we go to, we take it back a little bit at a time. And that's what today's going to be about. Hey guys, this is my world right here. Everything I have in life, everything I do is for these right here. They've been with me through it all, but guess what? When I go to work tomorrow morning, that's my life, right? I have to care for these people like I hope somebody cares about mine. I've been to the emergency room 27 times in my career over people I don't know. From anything from a busted elbow to a busted knee, smoke inhalation, hyperbaric chamber, burn, anything you can think of for these people. Because I chose it. That's what we have to give them every day. And you know the sad part about this is, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys are here. You guys do that too, or you wouldn't be here. What makes me mad about stuff is we don't have 500 more people, the decision makers, to come in here and buy into it and get what we want. This is how you can get a hold of me. I'll be around. If not, we kind of go. You're going to get about half of the class today, but if somebody gets with me, if you want the PowerPoint, you guys can have it. I don't care. I just want to make us better. So this came out in 2013, but I think this is good to point out because we can fix every one of these. So the reasons of line of duty deaths, how many people know how many firemen get killed every year? We kill a lot of firemen every year, right? But that's our job. Lack of SOPs, not lack of SOPs for department. Department puts out plenty of SOPs. You just look at the book. I'm talking about SOPs at the company level. That's your chiefs getting out there, your officers getting out there. And hey, guys, you don't have to take notes. I'll give these to you. Lack of leadership, that's a big problem. Lack of preparedness, yeah, how do we prepare? We got there and train every day specifically to our district. If we fail to do that from the chief level to the probationary firefighter, we fail. Because that chief has to be just as equally trained as you do. You company officers, include that chief out there. Put him on the spot. Chief, come out there. Because on the fire ground, he's got to know what you know, right? Professional responsibility. You guys are taking care of that now. But there's only 2 chiefs in here. That's sad.
Tonight, an 8-on-your-side investigation reveals discrepancies about what happened the night an elderly woman died in a
Can y'all hear that?
fire while on the phone with a 911 dispatcher. It was a 20-minute phone call from inside that burning home. The firefighters made no attempt to get her out. 8 on your side, Melissa Marino joins us now. She's live at Fire Station North 98. Tell us more about this. We first heard about it last night. There's more details coming to light today, Melissa?
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot more details. I can tell you first off, reporters from here, from this fire station, they were the first on scene. Now the question is, why didn't they rescue her?
911, what is the address of your emergency?
I think my house is on fire, and I'm here alone, and I'm on a walker.
As 76-year-old Loretta Pickard sat on the phone with the 911 dispatcher, her Rock Ridge Road home was filling with smoke. Over and over again, a dispatcher told her help was coming.
They're there with you, okay? So, do you know if your door is unlocked? So I can let them know.
Yes, it's unlocked. Tell them to hurry.
Her family wants to know why her rescuers never came, even though firefighters were there.
She was 5 feet from a door, sitting at a dining room table waiting for help that never came.
The deputy county manager tells us first responders attempted to rescue Loretta, but it was too hot. A log between dispatchers and fire crews obtained by 8 on Your Side tells a different story. According to that log, firefighters did not attempt to get into the home or check around it. Instead, firefighters started fighting that fire from the outside. At this point, according to the log, only half of the home is on fire.
You know I'm in here, right?
Yes, they know you're in there.
Instead of running in to save Loretta, 8 on Your Side has learned that the person calling the shots, Polk County Fire Rescue Captain James Williams, was sending a Snapchat video from the scene. Deputy County Manager Joe Hallman says he was suspended for it.
That's in violation of our policy. And he violated it, and as a result, he was suspended for 24 hours without pay.
That's not acceptable. How is that one-day punishment? How does he have a job?
A 911 dispatcher tells the firefighters several times Loretta was inside and alive, but she never made it out.
Hello, Miss Pickard. Hello?
The county manager just telling me not every...
Breaks my heart. But you guys, everything they said, we can fix. It's too hot. Cut a hole. It's too hot. Spray a bunch of water. We have thermal imagers. We have gear. We have air packs. We have training. We have help. That lady had the worst day of her life, and we failed her. We are better than that. We have got to be better than that on every single run we make. That's what this class is about. That's our mom. My mom's probably sitting around in her nightgown right now, drinking coffee. That lady was probably sitting in her nightgown and she was talking. So it couldn't have been that dang bad. We have to accept the dangers. Man, when I got in the fire department, they lined us up and said, look left, look right. Some of you guys are going to get hurt or killed. We accept the dangers because that's what we're for. Did you see the post last week? A guy from New York City, he's a Rescue One. He said, the city pays me to keep fire trucks clean, keep the station clean, but they don't pay me for risking my life. That's priceless. That's us, guys. That is us. Do I want anybody to get hurt? No, I don't want anybody to get hurt. Don't want anybody to get killed? No, man. I care about you guys. If you guys know one thing or learn one thing about me today, I don't care where you're a fireman. I don't care how big, how small, paid, non-paid. We're a brother and a sister. When I say that, girls, I mean you too, because I live in a house full of girls. So if I say brother, if I say guys, I include you too. Because we cannot make the difference. Because guess what? In a burning building, it's obvious you're black and I'm white. But you're my brother.
That's right.
And if you're in trouble, guess what? Mo Davis is helping you. And if I'm in a fire, you think I can tell the color? No.
I'm coming to get you.
And I'm coming to get you. And if we have 10,000 of us like that, we win. We have got to get back to being a true brotherhood. We've got to love each other. Hey, man, if you're too good to hug a fireman, man, I think you're in the wrong profession. I believe in that. I believe that to my core, that we are better than they portray us on TV. Because you think about it, the fire station, we don't have all these problems they tell us on TV we have. Man, I ain't never seen half these problems. You need to go home, I got you. Go take care of your family. They don't want that, though. They don't want me and you to like each other. They don't want me and you to like each other. They don't want me and you to like each other. They don't want me and you to like each other. Because guess what? If they divide us, they win. Think about this. Whatever size. How big is San Antonio? How many firemen? 1,800. 1,800 versus 3. We win every time. But they want to divide us. Right? We cannot let them divide us. And the reason we can't let them divide us, because we win on our playing field, which is the fire ground. And we win by accepting the danger. We win by being well trained. We win by being able to go that extra mile that we have to. We have to accept those dangers. We can't let somebody in Phoenix tell us risk a lot to save a lot. What does that even mean? I don't know what it means. We're going to talk about survivability profiling in a minute. If somebody can tell me what survivability profiling is, I'll give you a kiss on the cheek. Because nobody knows what it is. But it's a cool term. We got to get away from that. We got to get back to the basics of squirting water, searching buildings, and cutting holes. There's nothing more in our job than that. There's a lot of smart guys, and Mo Davis is not one of those smart guys. Whenever I was an engine captain, I knew that was the hose we had. I didn't know how much we were flowing through it. I didn't know the diameter. I didn't know this. I just knew we pumped a whole lot of pressure and put out a whole bunch of fires. And guess what else we did? We drug a whole lot of people out of burning buildings. Why did we drag a lot of people out of the burning buildings? Because we were going inside them. Does the city like that? No, they don't like that. You know why the city don't like that? Because you might burn up a coat and they got to pay for it. I don't care how much a coat costs. We just had a crew got in a flashover a while back. The assistant chief that's moving out here with y'all. And if anybody's here from New Brunswick, I'm glad y'all got him and we don't. What was the first thing you said? The first thing he said whenever he pulled up on the fire scene, he goes, how does it feel knowing you destroyed $3,000 set of gear? Not are you okay, not are you burnt. How's that lady you pulled out of that burning building? You burned up $3,000. Do you think I care about $3,000 set of gear? I don't care. I care about that lady they pulled out. I care about the brothers that got caught in a flashover. Hug them guys and tell them thanks. That's what it is. Hey guys, we make as many fires as we've ever made. Let me tell you why people say we don't make the fires we make. It's the reporting system. The insurance companies and the cities has this long. Whenever I was a kid in the fire department, I did the Chiefs records. So I'm going to tell you how old I am, guys. We had them, you know, them purple things that you used to put in between paper and write real hard? The old guys, y'all know? That's what we did records on. And so it was like a 968 was a house fire. Well, you guys doing records now, how many different numbers are there for a house fire? Yeah. That's good for them. That's not good for us. We're making fires. Firefighterrescue.com, we're pulling people out of buildings. We're rescuing a lot. We're going to see some numbers. We're saving a lot of people. Do you think the cities want to put that out there? Hell no, they don't want to put that out there. They don't want you to be good. They don't want you to succeed. Because if you succeed, they're a failure. Because I promise you, most of the fire chiefs across the United States is a failure. Most of the fire chiefs across the United States was never one of us. They came in the fire department knowing they wanted to be a chief, and they would have stepped on every one of our backs, cut every one of our throats, done anything they could to sit behind the cherry desk and make decisions. I don't buy it. Like me or not, I'm not buying into it because I accept the dangers. You guys do it, you wouldn't be here. Jeff Cool, anybody know Jeff Cool? Jeff Cool survived the Black Sunday fire. He's a friend of mine. The guy is busted up from head to toe. He just had surgery about 2 weeks ago. They took his entire guts out. I'm not lying. I saw the picture. Rearranged them. Put them all back in together. Because on Black Sunday, he was up on the 4th floor. Fire burned behind him. They couldn't get out. A bunch of firemen started jumping. Several of them died. Joey DiBernardo was a guy on Rescue 3. Said, hey, Jeff, you got a wife and kids. Give me your rope and I'll lower you. He come out, he pendled it out. When he came back in, he lost his grip and he fell. Shattered his whole body. There's a tent beside him in the bed you can see, and they took his guts out to lay him there while he was rehabbing. So this is a man that's been busted up, lost several brothers, and he says, we fight fire from interior to save lives and property. Yes, we do. We don't surround and drown. If we surround and drown, what are we doing? Destroying property and not giving people a chance. We're going to talk about resetting fires and something. That's some of the silliest shit I've ever heard in my life. We don't reset fires. We go to where the fire's not burning, and we go to where it's burning, and we put it out. Resetting fires is a waste of time, and we're going to talk a little bit about why here in a second. Now, I know a bunch of smart people told us that's what to do it, but you know something? There wasn't any firemen on that panel. We got to get back to putting people and their property first. Aggressive tactics, it must have buy-in by all. We teach everybody in the district that we work with the aggressive tactics. We teach them the safety features. We teach them how to do it. We do everything, and then guess what? We've got to have buy-in from everybody. If we don't have buy-in from everybody, they got to go. Because we've always got to remember, like my brother just said here a minute, I'm coming for you. That's the way we've all got to be. If we have 30 people show up on the fire ground, 30 people have to be like-minded people. If we have 6 people, or tonight at my part-time job when I get there, we got 2 people, we got to have 2 like-minded people. That's what we do. That's what it's got to be. And we can't accept anything less. And that's up to the officers. Who is line officers in here? You guys got a tough job, right? You're fighting for the guys. You're getting kicked in the teeth from the upper management, right? But you got to make sure your guys are safe. You got some guys that don't want to come in and drill sometimes. We got to motivate them to come in and drill. You know how we do it? We get out there with them. You get a chief out there with them. Guess what? If that chief's out there dirty, they're out there. Hey, man, my guys was laughing at me about 6 months ago. We got a new rookie, first day on the saws, and I'm out there, I'm sitting watching. I'm just sitting there, and I noticed they're looking at me laughing. I got my quick hitches on, and they just laughing at me. I'm like, what are they laughing at? And just all morning long, you know, we take a break. And I'm like, hey, man, what are y'all laughing at? They said, man, you just don't give a shit about nothing, do you? I'm like, what? They said, man, you're covered up in sawdust. I said, man, I'll take a shower in a minute. I'm okay, right? But I have to know the capabilities of that young guy. I have got to give that young guy a shot to be good. I have to be out there to know, and we said this last night, if you have a group of guys and somebody's not good at something, find something they're good at. You include them and you make them good at that skill, and guess what? You just don't put him in what he's not good at or her what she's not good at. That's called leadership. And you don't know that sitting in the room. You know that by being out there on the fire ground. Hey, man, you got this big old strong guy that can hump slacker. Hey, where's my brother was talking the other day? I said, man, you're a truck guy. Where you at? Man, you think I ain't putting that guy on the truck? You lost your damn mind if you don't think I am. He's going to be pulling shiplap. Right? Then I'm going to find somebody who's good on the line. Then I'm going to find somebody that's good at finding the fire. Hey, man, it's hard to find a fire, but some people have just got a knack for it. Hey, some people are good on the ambulance, and guess what we do? We put them there. And guess what? We make them equal to us. We are all in this together. We are one. And when we separate, we fail. And guess what? When we fail, people die. We cannot fail in the fire service. That is not in our vocabulary. You know what? I just said, Chief, I told Chief back here a second ago, 99.999% of the time when that booper goes off, our backs are against the wall. We make it better every time. But when we don't make it just right better, we make it a little bit better for them because we care. I said this in an interview several years ago. I let kids in the community, and I worked in a poor community, I let them play on their fire truck. I washed their fire truck that morning. And when we would make their house on fire, they were the most important people to us. We would always go tell them, hey, I'm sorry you lost this. I wish we could do more. If there's anything we can do, call us when we come to you. And while we were loading hose up to go to another fire, because we made a whole bunch of fire, those kids played on their fire truck. Their mom and dad may not be present, but fireman was present because that's what we are. We're humble servants. And we've always got to remember that. It's not about us. So question, biggest problem on the fire ground, what is it? Anybody? It's your incident commanders. Your incidents are the sorriest son of guns in the country. I'm one. I think I can say that. Who in here has a chief that's not here is willing to raise your hand and said it irks you and you hate it when he tells you to slow down, back up, we're writing it off? Yeah, that's right. Why? Because you know you're doing good and they may not be as equally as trained as you and they're backing you off because guess what? They're a little bit scared. Is it scared sending in somebody harm's way? Yeah, it is. Is that one of my toughest jobs? Yes, it is. I seen Captain Schroeder cut a hole the other day, man, this thing is just getting it. And so I'm walking with him. I said, man, Captain Schroeder, man, be careful on this one. It's kind of scaring me. And I back off. After the fire, he goes, man, don't ever say that, Mo. He said, you tell me to cut a hole 20 times a week, and you walk up there with me and tell you this is scaring you to be careful. He goes, man, you scared me to death. But I was scared. But guess what? I have to have the ability to put people in harm's way to make things better for the people in there that need us. We have to accept that. Poor leadership. Yeah, man. I ain't speaking to you guys. I guarantee you, who in here has 5 years or less? You guys are leaders. I bet you don't think you are, but you guys are leaders. You guys are leaders. You know why? You care. You're influential. You may not know it, and a slug at your station will punk you for being a leader, but you're still a leader because whenever they get back there thinking in the back of their head, they're like, man, that kid's showing me up, right? Be a leader. You don't have to take a test to be a leader. Being a leader is just being a leader. Man, I'm so jacked up, I got my earphone messed up. Micromanagement. Man, we talked about this last night. Who likes being micromanaged by a district chief or a battalion chief or what do you go? Nobody. And you chiefs in here, give them an assignment, back off and let them accomplish it. I need you to cut me a hole. I don't need to tell you every step of cutting a hole. Hey, I need you to pull an inch and 3/4. Or hey, engine 1, come in and make a fast attack. I do not have to tell that captain and his crew how to pull that, where to put it, how to flow it. That's their job. Micromanagement is the biggest failure in the fire service, and we do it over and over and over and over because we are insecure as leaders. Y'all agree? Sure you agree. And if they would just give you an assignment and let you go, you would accomplish more. And firemen are going to do the right thing 99% of the time. You wouldn't be a fireman if you wasn't. Untrained incident commanders? Sure they are. Who knows that guy that took the test and run their way up, ain't never done nothing in their career, and they're sitting in their room doing absolutely nothing, but they tell you that they're a chief. They look pretty in their uniform. They got all this gold. They got all this kind of stuff out. But then you ask them, hey, man, what is your crew doing? They have no idea. You got to get out there, guys. And if you're chiefs, you got to be equally trained as the people you're serving. As a chief, you serve the men and women that work for you. And guess what? You protect the men and women at all costs. You ruin your career by making sure their career's okay. If you ain't got the guts to stand up to them, you are a failure. Man, I ruined my career in the Houston Fire Department. I will never go beyond what I am now. And I'm okay with that because the people who work with me knows that I protect them. The administration, they hate my guts. And if you don't believe me, you type in Mo Davis and you look at the news interview, you will see where a guy started hating my guts. I sleep good at night. Guess what? I eat popcorn with my crew every night. When I was at 46s, we ate ramen noodles. Why we ate ramen noodles? I have no idea. Probably because we're broke like Chuck, man, like prisoners, you know? So at 9 o'clock at night, whenever I was a captain on Engine 46, one of the busiest engines in the company, and we were going to work daily, guys. We were putting hose on the ground, and we were fighting fire, and we had dirty uniforms, and we was making 10, 15, 20 EMS runs on top of the fires we made. Every night we come in at 9 o'clock at night, our shirts went off, and we were a family, and we would eat ramen noodles and drink coffee, and every one of us probably got high blood pressure because of it. But guess what? We were a team, right? The chief didn't come in there because we didn't want him. The senior didn't come in there because we didn't want him. We were us. And our chief was good to us and let us fight fire the way he set the standards. He set the standards, and we followed the standards. That's what it takes to be a good leader. That's what aggressive command is all about. Leaders with no experience, how many of us know that? Yeah, we do. Why do you think they become a chief so quick? They're cowards. They are scared to death of fire. They wanted the off days. They wanted the cool uniform. They wanted the cool ride. But that first time you sent them in a burning building, they said, uh-oh, this is real. I got to test and get out of here. And so they test up, and guess what they test up? They become better than me and you because they tested higher than me and you. They don't have no blisters on their back. They don't have blisters on their face. Man, that's street credit. Street credit is doing it. Hey, man, when I was a captain, we have debit days. You know how I judged on what apparatus them debit day people was coming in? If a guy came in and he had a pretty shiny helmet, guess where he was going? You got it, the ambulance. And if I had this old guy come in, he could barely walk, he's dirty, he's dragging. Man, you want the pumper the truck, brother. Or if I see a giant come in, I'm like, hey, man, take that 2-man pike pole on anything we make north because it's shiplap. Grab the regular pike pole if we go south because it's sheetrock, right? Well, what is that? That's just being a leader, right? Putting the best guy for the most important job that you know can accomplish it. You know the only bad thing that happens when you're an officer like that, when you're a leader like that, all of a sudden you build a crew that everybody's equally as good, and you feel bad by putting that guy on the ambulance or that. So I got a guy that loves the truck. I got a guy that loves the pumper, and they stay on there. They're the senior men. Man, it breaks my heart, you know, when the captain, I never get involved in captain's duties. And if the captain puts one of them on the ambulance, I walk by and say, man, I'm sorry. What else can I say? Because you know he's equally as good. But guess what happens to that guy? Guess what happens to that guy when we make a fire? He's put on that box. He's got his gear on. He's going to work. He's protecting the guys he's working with. What's he doing? He's throwing ladders to the second floor. He's humping tools. He's involved. He's engaged because guess what? That's the way he was trained. And you know what? When we make an EMS run with that guy, we give him the same responsibility. And that's what it takes to be a good leader. That's the biggest introduction you guys ever heard, huh? Hey, man, this building right here, it's no lie. It's right here. It almost killed me. We was about 10 foot inside that door. That's me. That's that big guy right there is me. That's Jason Martinez. Me and him was going in there. Should we have been in there? I don't know. It's burning. I guess we should. We lived in the poor part of town. We're supposed to be in there. And you know what? I don't care what anybody in here ever been in a building collapse? Well, let me tell you, it ain't like the books. You don't hear creaking. You don't hear popping. You're walking thinking you're doing it good. And next thing you know, you're laying flat on your face saying, I ain't going to make it. And I promise you, this happened to me. I was laying on my belly, and you know what I thought of? My mom. I was dying. I knew I was dying. I was hoping they would come get me. My hands was out to the side. My feet was up in the air. My face was in the floor. And I was thinking, my mom's going to be sad. It gets real. But guess what? Who came and got me? Another fireman. He pulled me out by my feet, drug my face piece off. I'm scared to death. And I see Jason Martinez about as far as me to you. Y'all be careful. Jason Martinez is sitting on his butt with his belly laid flat down with metal across him. I said, man, get Jason, make sure he's okay. Why do we do that? Because that's what we do, right? So, guys, we're going to talk about what aggressive command is. I'll get this earphone fixed in a minute. We're going to talk about situational awareness because that's what we live on, especially as officers. We're going to talk about leadership and decision making. Then we're going to talk about fireground assignments. I think we can get to all of it. Bad terms, guys. We got to get away from bad terms. These come from people writing books. Totally involved. I ain't never made a fire totally involved. Have y'all ever seen a concrete slab burn? No, that's part of the house, right? There's always some little something not burning. And guess what we do as firemen? We save that. We save that little bit for them people, because what happens is if somebody's got an American flag that their son was killed in Vietnam and they keep it in that room, we protect that room. What if they have an urn with body parts of somebody they lost? We protect that. What happens if it's the first picture of their baby? We protect that. We are protectors. That's why we do. We got to get away from totally involved. Survivability profiling, guys. We'll talk a little bit about that now. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. Who knows what survivability profiling is? I have no idea.
Survivability profiling is where we start looking for where we should start our search, not what is pinnable, but where we should start.
I'll go for that. That's one of the best things I've ever heard. Yeah, I'll go with that. But we don't write people off because of that.
It's just
Where we're starting. I like it. I'll go with that. I don't have a lot of good voice on that. We pull people out of burning buildings, and then God makes a decision on what happens to them. And do you know this, guys? Most of the people, and I've been very lucky in my career, I have helped and rescued a whole lot of people. At 46's territory, it was a regular thing that we were pulling people out of burning buildings. We were at the Valor Awards ceremony almost every year because we went to work in a very poor part of town. A lot of people trapped in burning buildings. What? Do you know most of them wasn't burnt? Asphyxiation, we're going to talk about that in a second. But we give them a chance. No searchable space? Man, everything's searchable. People get on the ground. That's where we should be on the ground. We find people on the ground. Tell you a funny story. We were punking this guy. We have a volunteer crew that rides with us. He's a good guy. I really like him. And we'd pull probably 15 and 20 elderly people out of this. It was an elderly retirement center. And we had just got thermal imaging, you know, man, it was Cadillac. And so I go down the hallway and I see this guy going like this. Well, I know he's trying to find a wall, but he's just going like this. After the fire was over, I said, hey, man, did you find anybody flying out of that thing? Man, that's messed up. You're going to find him on the floor. He was just lost, but I had to punk him. No tenable space? Man, we don't know that. I found people under clothes. I found people in closets. I found people under beds. People cover themselves up when they start getting hot. They find a way to do it. That's why we're on our hands and knees. That's why we're using our hands. That's why we're doing it. We don't take a thermal imager and go to the room and say, hey, man, it's good. No, we crawl and we feel and we make sure we determine that there's nobody in there. Vacant? How did the fire start? I don't buy vacant buildings. Somehow it started. Abandoned? How do we know it's abandoned? Poor people, if it's cold, goes in them. In the summertime, kids play in them. We give poor people and kids a shot. Unoccupied? Did you guys remember reading the story about there was a fire somewhere, I think in the Northwest, and the fire department gets there and they go, hey, Mr. So-and-so, they went to the store, everybody's out. Well, they didn't know his little girl came home from college. Did you read that story? She dies in there because they don't go in there and search because they told her that everybody was out. We make that decision. We don't go on what people tell us. It's our job to search that and say that if it's unoccupied. We never go on people, because who's to say a husband and wife ain't having problems? They burn a house down around them, right? We make that choice, not them. 3% of all rescues are made in vacant buildings. Now, here's a statistic that you're going to like. 65 of that 3% survived. That's giving people a chance. If people die at the hospital, we give them chances. This is a little bit old, but this is how many people was lost in the first half of 2021. It's a lot of people, right? We're still making those fires that people tell us we're not making. 50% in homes, major times 23 to 0700. But we got to alter that a little bit. If you work in an area where they have shift workers, you still got to protect them. Or if you work in a poor part of town where people don't work, we got to go protect those people too. Hard fact is a child dies in a fire every day in the United States. That's tough. I lost this little boy on Christmas, right here. I put him there just to remember. I give everybody 110%. We get dispatched to this fire right here. This little boy went to sleep thinking Santa Claus was coming, and he woke up to that. I had a crew that burned up a bunch of gear. They burned up a thermal imager. They did this, they did that. Everything to get that child out. When we went on scene, the mom said she had 4 missing kids. And as I look down this side right here, somebody's throwing kids off. I see them throwing kids off. And I'm thinking, good, 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 good. But there's missing one. We went in, we finally found him. He died. He went to bed thinking Santa Claus was going to come. This is what he woke up to. It's our job to make sure he's out. It hurts me. I've had a lot of kids. I've had a lot of people die in fires. But this just hurt me. It hurt me because I was a chief and I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I would have felt a whole lot better if I would have been that guy in there searching. I know these guys did a good job. I ain't taking nothing away from them, but it just bothers me. So I put this up there. So what does this tell me? I got in trouble for this fire because they called me downtown because I didn't do a survivability profile. So I had a friend of mine that was in a little bit of trouble. Can you guys hear me? I had a friend of mine that was in trouble, and he called me and goes, hey, Mo, you better get your ducks in a row. They're going to do a deal on you downtown about survivability profile. And I said, what's a survivability profile? And he goes, man, I don't know, but you're getting ready to get in trouble for it. So I start looking, I start doing anything, and they take us in a room, probably about the quarter size of this. The whole district's in there. And so I understand, like, I'm not a big safety officer person. You know, most of them are squirrels. And most of the people that hide out the academy their whole career, I'm not a big fan of theirs. Well, guess who comes in? The safety division comes in, the academy comes in. I'm like, what are they doing at my postmortem? I'm like, wait a minute. It's all too clear now, right? So I got to get ahead of the game to protect the guys, right? So I get up and I say, hey, man, listen, guys, District 68 and then assistant chief. We have an appointed assistant chief. He's never been nothing in the fire department. He's not even a chief. He just got appointed a chief. And I said, hey, easy, chief. I took a test to have this position. I wasn't appointed. Let me talk to my guys. How you think that went over? Not too well. It's okay. We know where we stand. So I told him, I said, if anybody in District 68 wants a survivability profile of a fire we make, find you a new place to work today. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this started. So the squirrels started going out, just like they took their nut bag out. They all followed it. Why did I do that? I knew the guys were hurting. I'm not going to let anybody put any more hurt on them because it bothered them on Christmas morning to lose that, right? My job as a leader is to take care of that district and make a fool of myself and let them know that I care about them because nobody knows how bad those guys are hurting other than them because of this little boy. They don't need to call us down there and talk about that. We'll take care of the talking because we're in this together, right? If you guys got somebody in your division that's having a hard time with something, you know what the best fix is? You. Firemen don't want to talk to people, right? Firemen will talk to each other. Hey, man, we're wired differently. It's okay to be wired differently. And you guys have been through line of duty deaths, you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to talk to a CISM member. When my buddy got killed out there one morning, I didn't want to talk to a CISM member. I didn't want to talk to the psychologist. I wanted to talk to a fireman. Today is an anniversary of 2 people we lost. Today. I got a call one morning, Jerry Turner called me and said, Mo, we just lost 2 at 26, just passed the word. Man, I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, damn, what happened? We don't know. Guess what? We don't care. We're rallying the troops, and we're getting there because they know. When the 531 in my district, when that building collapsed on those, killed all those guys, we rallied the troops. Why did we rally the troops? Those guys were going to be hurting. Chief Mike Phillips stepped in and told the fire department, said, we don't need you. We got this. You go to 51s, you go to 68s. Hey, man, you jump on the ambulance. You do this, you do that, you do that. And guess what? When those guys went back to the station, everybody else that got rallied was like, what do you need? Do you want to go in the dorm and cry? We'll go in the dorm and cry. Do you want something to eat? We'll go get something to eat. Because we're brothers. That's not that hard. You guys went through it. Hey, man, just a little side note to not get on a soapbox. Don't believe everything you read in NIOSH. You filter through. I read NIOSHs all the time. You read NIOSHs and you learn from them, but do not think that everything they say is true, because they will hurt somebody doing the right thing. They do it to us. They did it to y'all. Anybody else in here ever unfortunately had a line of duty death? They did it to you. They did it to you. They can't change us. Because if you call me tonight and say, hey, Mo, since you brought that up, man, I'm having a hard time. All right, let's talk about it and see if we can fix it. A CISM member can't fix that, because guess what? I care for you. I work with you. I can fix you. Everybody else says, do it. That's a job. It's not a job to me. That's what being a good leader is, right? Good leaders care. And good leaders are not rank specific. Back over there to the brothers and the sister who has like, how many years you got in? Yep. 7. How many years you got in? Do you think I care less about you than I do 7? No. Who in here has 1 year or less? I care about you guys too. We have to care. And then those old salty guys that's got 30 or 40 years in, guess what? It bothers them too. When Captain Burke, a friend of mine, got killed over off Brandon Street one morning, I didn't believe it. I was driving over there and I was getting phone calls. I said, man, there's something right. When I get out of my truck, I go running up there. I see Chief Bisbano's face and I say, it happened. Because I knew Chief Bisbano was sad. What do you say? You're just there. If he wants to tell you, he'll tell you. If not. The crew was so messed up, and everybody's out there, they're measuring, they're marking, and Chief Columbus said, Mo, would you mind moving a pumper for me? Yeah, I will. They said, we want to carry Captain Burke off. He said, but the guys are hurt. He said, will you move it? Will you back it in? We'll load him up. Then they brought the ambulance in instead, but they followed him. What did I do that day? I let Chief Bisbano know that I care about him. I didn't have to tell him I cared about him. And guess what? We stayed at the fire scene while those guys left and did what they did. That's leadership, guys. That's not Mo Davis. That's you guys. It's just having love of the profession. And guess what? If we do that, it carries over on the fire ground. And we're aggressive on the fire ground because we care for each other. I'm not going to go through these a lot because we don't have much time, but you guys can go to firefighterrescues.com and you can see all this. I will say this, though. We tell people to close the doors. I don't care how bad the house is burning. If we can get in and we can find a closed door, we get in there and search it, because guess what? 84% of the people behind a closed door survive. That's why we don't just write things off. We don't know what the inside's like. We can have fire blowing out of everything. But there may be an interior room that's not burning, and that's where that person is. And guess what? That person deserves us. I get rid of these because we got to get over to tactics. Confirmed trap people. What's our first priority? Emergency rescue, right? We call it different things. What do you guys call it? Rescue mode. We just call it emergency rescue mode. We get by with all the 2 in, 2 out, silly stuff. Anybody get anything else? Hey, and guess what? It's your radio report. You say what you want to say, but you get in there and do it. We just had this the other day when I was at work. We were the first in on the chief's car, and this lady, she is just going crazy. My 2 sisters are in there and they're handicapped. Well, we're going to get them, ma'am. Hang on. We're going to get them. So I tell the first in engine, hey, I need you to put the line in between the fire and where they're at. And the next in company, I don't care who you are, you're going in emergency rescue mode. I wouldn't have cared if it was an ambulance that pulled up. They were going in emergency rescue mode. That's what we do, our rescue mode. Yes, sir. Search prior to water, we increase people's survival rate. Now, we talk all this stuff, and I'm not saying it's not important. We talk all this stuff about hose size, nozzle size, spraying water, doing this, doing that. But the statistics shows us if we pull people out of burning buildings quick, they live. If we get to it, I'm going to show you a video where District 19, they crawl in over the hose line, know somebody's there. They hold off on the water till we pull them out. Or they pull them out. Questions. So how can aggressive command help survivability profiling? Anybody? Anybody got anything? What you got, brother? You want to say it? I guarantee you ain't wrong.
I guess just knowing what you're looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Guess what? In the cleanup, just to clean that up, guess what? We're not going to micromanage those guys. We're going to give them assignment and let them go, right? Chiefs, let your crews work. Don't hold them back. Why do we hold people back? I never understood that. Here's the next one. Engine and ladder companies. Now, if this is against your procedures, don't get in trouble. Say, Mo Davis told me to. I don't want you to get fired. But if you're the first in and you're the first in ladder, why in the world are you going to assume command and do absolutely nothing with people in a burning building? You're going in emergency rescue mode. And guess what? We'll deal with it because right here, the first engine in assuming commanding, who are you commanding? Yourself? I don't have to tell myself what to do. Right? If I'm the first in engine, command to engine one, assume command. I don't have to tell myself to do that. I already know. Command to engine one, do emergency rescue mode. I don't have to tell myself to do that because I already know. Why do we want to assume command when we're the first in? That comes from that place we were talking about at the beginning of the deal. The guy that ruined the fire service. Guess what else that guy don't want to do? That guy don't want to cut holes. That guy wants to write people off. That guy did away with our uniforms. You tell me if that didn't kill the fire service. Everything that was important to a fireman was destroyed by their silly rules. Uniform. Man, I'm proud of my uniform. I worked hard to wear a uniform. I wear it every day with pride. They took it away. They said you could wear a flowered shirt that does just as good. No. If I was a surfer, right? Wear your uniform with pride. That's what we do. We don't cut holes. Why did he just wake up one morning and say we don't cut holes? Because there's nothing changed in the fire service. Smoke still goes up. Smoke still builds pressure. Smoke still goes out. Smoke still banks down. We can't see where we're going until we cut a hole. Then we walk through the house and put it out. Be nice. I don't have to tell you to be nice. You're a fireman. Firemen, fire ladies, whatever you are, you're a nice human being. I don't have to tell you to be nice. They ruined the fire service, and we're taking it back. Hey, man, if he's one of your heroes, I'm sorry. He's just not mine. I don't even have to say his name, and y'all know who I'm talking about. Chiefs, assume command and get involved. Yeah. If I'm up to the close to the fire ground, I know what you're doing. If I train with you, I'm just picking on you because you're here. If I train with you every single day, I know your capabilities, and you have this look on your face like it ain't going good and I'm up here at the door, I know. If I see that hose line is in a house and they pull 200 foot in there and the fire's right here, guess what? I know they missed the fire. If I've got smoke blowing out at my ankles, I know we didn't cut a hole and punch through because I get involved. Not me, but that's just what we're supposed to do for you. And you officers in here, answer this honestly, you feel better that I'm up there doing it and not sitting in my car. Yeah. That same guy that we were talking about earlier said he could run a multiple alarm from Florida to Phoenix. Man, get out of here. Yeah. He was given that job because they screwed up. we do what's right. How am I looking, Corey? Corey, I'm good? Okay. So here's what aggressive command's not. Man, this was my old chief right here, Chief Hooker. Man, I was a hooker boy. Nobody said nothing to the hooker boys. Nobody. Because we were his. Hey, we'd pull up on stuff and it'd be burning from here to the freeway out there. Chief would walk up and tell the incident commander, he goes, hey man, my boys are here. Just let me know. And then what would he do? He would come way back in the back of the line and he'd get us and he'd give us the pep talk. He said, man, if you let me down, you ain't never going to live this down. Come on, man. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. He said, don't screw me over. And guess what? We wouldn't screw him over. We would work like dogs. We wouldn't take breaks because we wouldn't let him down. Because he never let us down. It's a two-way street. Man, we're a hooker boy. Is that a good term? I don't know. It's good for us. We got to make a lot of fires. But guess what? Everybody else around us hated them. Because they might be lollygagging at the front door. You know, they're just like, man, should I go? Should I not go? Guess what the hooker boys are doing? Hey, man, coming through, man, coming through. Hump me some slack. Were we scared? Yeah, we were scared. But we did it for him. So aggressive command is not recklessness. No, man, we're in an unsafe job. There's no way we'll ever make this job safe. I don't care how hard we try to make it safe, we will never make it safe. But guess what we can do? We can be well-trained. Well-trained helps us out on that. It's not unplanned. Everything we do in the fire service, guys and girls, is planned. It's not untrained. We train on everything. You train to your district specific needs. I don't think we should ever train people just to harass people. We train to get good at our job. Like, I can be honest with you, we're not going to pull and lay hose on the ground behind the fire station every single day. We are not going to do that. Now, are we going to find a burned out building and stretch in there? Yes, we are. When I was on the engine company with Captain Jenkins, anybody knows Captain Jenkins? He was known as the general. And he was exactly like everybody said, but guess what they didn't tell you? He cared about us. He trained us. We were the best trained in the city. People would come there and they would see Captain Jenkins and they would go home sick. They would ask to ride the ambulance because they knew we were going to train every day. 2 o'clock in the morning, we're coming back from whatever we're coming back for. He sees a burnout building. He goes, hey, stop, let's walk the roof. So we'd all be up there walking the roof. What was he doing? Letting us know what roofs feel like. Hey, man, this is sketchy, guys. Come over here and stand. You feel the sponginess in your knees? It was specific training. It wasn't harassing us. And it's not taking uncalculated risk. Man, we calculate every risk we take. When we put our gear on that pumper, it's a risk. I don't buy into the clean cabs. I don't buy into that. I don't want anybody to get cancer, but I just don't buy into it because guess what? People are dying when we're doing silly things. And if my air pack's in the back of the pumper, and I promise you, nobody in here can hold their breath more than 3 minutes, that's what people are doing when we are goofing off. We don't have our gear on the pumper. Man, I slept by my quick hitches. My quick hitches was by my bed. I rolled out of bed, and I had my quick hitches on. I jumped in the pumper, driving down the road, no seat belt, none of that other silly stuff they said, and we drove as fast as that fire truck could possibly drive. We had lots of sirens on that thing for a reason. We put our stuff on when we got there. We come off the truck, fully geared up, face piece, hoods, helmets, airbags, gloves, tools, to go to work because people are dying. So aggressive command is, and guys, this is the way you see me on the fire right here. I asked them to cut a hole there, so what am I going to do? I have nothing else better to do. I walk right in there and punch through the sheetrock and I make sure that it's not burning in the attic. I'm watching out for those guys, right? I can't do that from my car. So here's what it is, situational awareness. Yeah, that goes on all of us, but especially the guy that's watching. So if you're pulling the line, you're focused on that. The officer is focused on where you're going in at. The captain on the truck is focused where he's going to cut a hole or crank a fan. where he's going to start to search. So then my situational awareness is the big picture. The big picture is, where's that fire going? What's it going to do if we don't do anything? If we do this, what's going to happen? And then I communicate with them. Guess what? It's not a big communication. Engine 68, I need you to pull a cross lane, make an attack. Ladder 68, I need you to come in and ventilate. And then shut up. The radio traffic's for emergencies, maydays. But how can we do this, guys? Because we train every day, right? We know. We know the expectations that everybody has. And so guess what we do? And a lot of people say this is crazy. Sometimes on the weekend, I take it on the pumper. I get to ride captain on the pumper all day long. Why do I do that? The senior gets to ride the car, the captain gets to ride the truck, and we all stay familiar with everybody's job, including me. Can I make an EMS run? Sure I can. Can I pull a cross lay? Sure I can. And then a week or so later, I get to ride the truck. Because guess what? If I ask you to cut a hole, I should be willing to cut a hole. If I ask you to crank a fan or VES or do whatever, I should be willing to do that. That's why they call it a team. And guess what? Nobody ever bucks the system. I got an old senior guy named Wally on the pumper. Every time we're eating breakfast, if the booper goes off, I say, Captain Mario, got it for you. Captain Mario, no, I got it. Wally goes, hey, man, I give you an A for trying, man. That's what we do, right? I'm the last guy in the station to eat. That's the way it's supposed to be. If the guys are fed, the ambulance is fed, the pumper's fed, the truck's fed, I can eat all day long. Because guess what? When I'm on the pumper, I'm going to eat first. Because it goes up and it goes down, right? That's what it is. We have a well-trained crew? Yes, we already talked about that. We have a backup plan? Yes, sir. We have a backup plan to every single thing we do. And I hope we get to it today because we're going to talk about a backup line and an interior RIT line. The interior RIT line, the backup line, is the safest thing you can do for firemen on the inside. 6% of maydays, rescues come from outside, and it's astronomically higher for the guys on the inside. So we put a backup line in. Do you remember whenever we showed the reasons for line of duty deaths up there beginning, lost, disoriented, run out of air, stuff like that? We protect all that by being interior. They know where they are. We'll talk about it in a second. I hope we get to it. What is aggressive? Man, who wouldn't like to work for these guys? Damn. This guy right here from Boston. This right here is a young guy at Station 25. This guy's an old Marine. He was a sniper in the Marine Corps. And he told me he will take the same shot 10,000 times. They want it to be second nature to him. So guess what? This is Odin Court over in 46's territory. We'd go up there and drill on these apartments every single day. He's probably forced 2,500 doors. So the captain said, hey, man, I need you to go get in that door. What did he do? Second nature. You think they got mad because he burned up his helmet? Yeah, he got crucified on the internet. Yeah, who cares? He got the door open. So what does that tell me? And he doesn't even work for me. What does that tell me when he comes to work for me? If he'll do that to get in, guess what he'll do to come get you? That's an ace. And that's a young guy. And then this guy right here, I just put him up here because he's a legend in Boston Fire Department. Combat ready. How do we get combat ready in the fire service? It's here. Training. It's here. Who in here, be honest, burns down buildings in their head at night before they go to bed? Ain't nothing wrong with that. You should. I do. True story. Man, I'm a chief out on the southwest side, and I hear an address that scared me when I was a captain on the southeast side. So I call my buddies a chief, and I say, hey, man, listen, that's a plumbing shop. The second floor, they got some pool tables. It's spaced out. People used to take their boyfriends and girlfriends up there where nobody would know about it, you know, that drink, that little bar up there. And I said, but the biggest thing you got to worry about is that tree growing up behind the back door. He said, hey, Mo, I ain't got time to talk to you. I'm going to a fire. So he hung up on me. I called him back and said, hey, man, Jarmeese and Calhoun and Cullen and Mayflower are your plugs. He called me back about 4 or 5 hours. He goes, how would you know that? I burned it down in my head. I knew the plugs. I knew the dangers. I had a plan of cutting that tree down as soon as I got there. And I did that probably 10 years ago, and I still remembered it when I heard that address. Guys, that's being combat ready. You guys do that in your territory, right? Hey, as silly as this is, who holds their breath as long as they can while they're driving? I do silly things because I drive a long way to work. I hold my breath as long as I can. I say, I'm going to hold my breath to the next exit. Right? Who in here takes an extra hot shower? I'm not getting into personal habits, but guess what? I turn that shower on hot and try to see what I can stand. I turn it up hotter. Now, don't turn it on scalding hot and jump in and get burnt and say, Mo told me to do it. No, man. You stand in there and you turn it. And guess what happens? When you get steamed at a fire, you don't go crazy. Oh, man, you cover up. Or you're like, oh, man, you pull your hood up, right? That's being combat ready. You guys who drive the pumper, you should know the capabilities of every single line and pump discharge on that, because you should run it in your head. You officers should run maydays in your head. I've had 2 live maydays in my career as a chief. I've been on a bunch of them as an officer. 2 of them. Your whole world stops, but then the deputy come up and he goes, hey, man, he goes, why were you so calm on that? Did you know it wasn't nothing? I'm like, no, man, I practiced this in my head. And guess what? You just keep going. And guess what happens when you're calm? Everybody else is calm. These guys are dying. But if you're calm, they don't know they're dying. I had a guy fall through the roof, and I could see the flames coming out. And I was like, man, luckily those guys got him quick. And then I had a roof fall on engine 51. But if we're combat ready, we're one step ahead of the game. And it's easy to get combat ready. When you go to bed at night, don't count sheep. Burn a building down in your head. Right? Think about your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, whatever you want to do, but go back to burning the building down. Give the fire service a little bit of your time every single day. It pays dividends. Give them a little bit. If you drive, study territory, because seconds count when people are dying. If you're a captain on a truck, run through what you're doing while cutting a hole in case something happens. Think about a guy falling in. What's my plan B if a guy falls in? What's my plan B if I pull up in this? So all of a sudden, you start playing these little games in your head. You start getting that. And when it happens, guess what you do? You just step over that side and keep going. That's combat ready. Well trained? Sure it is. Strong initiative action? Yeah, man, never hold a guy back. Who's the senior man in here? Who's got like 10 years as a firefighter? Yeah. You think we're going to hold you guys back? No. There's a reason you've been a senior man for 10 years. You've earned the right to make decisions. Don't hold him. Man, don't bust his bubble. If he comes up and he says, hey, Captain, or hey, Chief, I think we need to do this. Hey, let's try it. Hey, Chief, man, I don't need 2 people carrying 35 foot. I got it myself. Okay. Let me know if you need something. Right? Support him. And then right here, we're all type A personalities. Everybody's single in here. Anybody in here married to a fireman? Any guys married to girls? You have a miserable life, don't you? And it's not because she's bad. It's because she's type A and you're type A. And nobody's giving in. But I'm okay with that. Because when you go to work, I want that. And when she goes to work, I want that with her. Hey, man, let me ask you this. You women. Y'all answer it better. Does anybody in here have kids? You have kids? You have kids? Hey, listen. It is not normal to give your child up, is it? You will protect your child to the end unless he's hurt, he's sick, or he's injured, and you will give him to a fireman every single time. Why? We've earned that. Firemen have earned that over the years, and we can never break that trust. We can never break a mama's trust when she gives us that child. True story, I was a captain, bad part of town, but we was close to the medical center. We get a cardiac arrest down at a service station. We jump on the pumper. Our medic unit's out. They dispatch the ambulance to it. I get there, and I see this rich lady standing there just bawling her eyes out. I get, I say, hey, what's going on? She goes, man, my baby's dead. Hang on, let's see what we got. Ambulance gets there, I reach in, I get the baby. She said, no, you don't understand. So they've been telling me for years that my baby's going to die. He had some kind of birth defect. He's got this, he's got that. She goes, I don't want my baby to die tonight. And what did she do? She gave the baby to me. We put the baby in the back of the ambulance. We intubated the baby. And this was way before it was cool to let a mom stay with her dying baby. And I said, ma'am, get up in the ambulance. I was a pop. Pops are like, when I come in the fire department, you had to be a paramedic. So anyway, that's the stuff. I didn't like it, but they made me do it. So I said to her right there, I said, you hold your baby's hand, and I'm going to give you 110%. And then I told one of the guys, I said, you drive her car to the hospital, and we're going to get her. So what did we do? We gave this baby 110%. If that mom knows nothing else in this world, she knows we tried. She knows that firemen didn't break that trust that she has in us. Why did I let her ride in the back? Because I knew her baby was dying, but I wanted her to know that we were giving it a good shot. Guys, that's what fireman does. That's not Mo Davis. That's firemen. Firewomen. We don't break that bond that people give us. That's why if a fireman gets caught stealing in somebody's house, man, I don't care if they put him under the jail. We don't do that because we go back to this, man. We're leaders. People care about us. We care about people. And guess what, man? Most of the time, we're not in rich parts of town. Those rich people usually don't need us. The poor people need us, and we serve them more than others. Treat them with respect. Aggressive must meet the needs of the incident. Sure it does. Man, if we pull up on a little grass fire, man, it's a little grass fire. If we pull up on a building, it's falling in, and there's no possible way we can go offensive, guess what? We go defensive. Right here. Well-trained, motivated firefighters? Yes, we have. IC must be equally trained and motivated. If you have a bad chief in the station, it's a cancer. And guess what? You guys can fix that, right? There is nothing that says you have to be nice to that guy. You have to respect his rank, right? Her rank. But there's nothing that says you have to go out of your way to be nice to them. So guess what? We eat, and the chief comes in. I didn't hear y'all call breakfast. We didn't include you in, chief. I'm sorry. What can he say to that? It happens. Do you think if he's a bad chief, he cares about you? No, he'll put it on paper, man. I very rarely in my entire career, and I've been an officer since like 2004, I think, I never put anybody on paper. Because it's a whole lot easier to come up and say, hey, man, what in the fuck were you thinking? And then guess what? We get it right. If you're a little bit late, guess what you do? You bring us some donuts, and we wrap it off. We don't put people on paper unless it's bad. Morally, we go after them with everything we got. A little screw up, we fix it. Yeah. But guess what? If that chief is not you, not one of you, you don't have to pretend like he's one of you. At the Valor Awards, we pulled a guy, and I think we'll see it. Anissa Parker was there, and her and the fire chief was trying to take our pension. So I told the guys, we're getting ready to go up on stage, and there's like 4 of us. I said, do not shake their hand. Do not shake their hand. Do not shake their hand. And I said, I'm leading the way. You're Anissa Parker. I went by, I got mine, she stuck her hand out, and I just walked right off the stage. She's not my friend. He's not my friend. They can't eat me, and they can't change my birthday. But guess what? These guys I'm with. And what did I do when I come off the stage? Hey, man, good job. Good job. Good job. Then a little bit after that, one of the assistant chiefs said, hey, man, that was cold-hearted. Okay. Taking my pension's cold-hearted. Taking their pension's cold-hearted. Hey, man, we drugged the guy out, not you. Why am I going to shake your hand and you get put on the front page of the paper? You didn't do anything. These guys did it. So I shook their hand. They shook my hand. Is it okay to do that? Yeah, it's okay to do that. Because if the chief don't buy into you, he ain't worth having in your station. And don't forget this. It is your station. We just spend the night there. I manage 4 stations in my district. 68 lets me spend the night at their station every night. That's their station. I'm a guest. That's the way it's supposed to be. And that's the way, and if your chief don't do it, man, I know, and sometimes it's a lonely battle to fight by yourself, but sometimes you just got to fight that battle. Incident priorities, man, let's keep them simple. We don't have to get crazy on these. Life safety, incident stabilization, property conservation. Yeah, We're saving every single life we can, including our own. We're going to stabilize the incident, and we're going to conserve property. Look here. Strong commanders. Who wouldn't like to work for that guy? Do y'all know him? Ray Downey, FDNY, killed. Yeah. I studied this guy a lot. This guy was ahead of the game on leadership. He went to Rescue 2 and told them guys, said, hey, man, everybody go get scuba diver trained. Okay, Captain. They called him God. He was known as God to the men, not to his face, but the men thought of him as God. So everybody went to get scuba diver training. He goes to the fire department headquarters and tells Chief, hey, man, I need you to get some rescue scuba tanks, this and that. He goes, why? You guys are not even scuba divers. He goes, oh, yes, we are. Then what do? They became the rescue company for FDNY. And he was killed on 9/11. How was he killed on 9/11, man? Because he was with his guys. He wasn't in the command van. He was there. That's the kind of officers we need to be. I don't want anybody to get killed. God, no, I don't want anybody to get killed. But I want us all to be that kind of officer. And look at his helmet. Can you deny he's been there? No. Is it okay to have a dirty helmet? It's okay to have a dirty helmet because guess what? All the cigarette, tobacco smoking, tobacco dipping, and everything else we do is going to give us cancer before putting out fires. Why does the NFPA want us to clean their helmets? Because they get a kickback. It's true. You have a solid foundation? Yeah. Everybody in this room has a foundation. Everybody in this room could be a chief. Foundations built on principles. Man, if you're a fireman, you don't have principles, you're in the wrong profession. We are better than the news media gives us credit. Sorry, I have to get back here. Where's experience, training, and desire? Yeah. Because if a chief has this, what do you guys have? You guys have the same thing, right? You're setting on go. You guys should be wanting to make a fire here in a minute. And guess what else? As squirrely as Mo Davis was, every time the booper went off, I'm like, man, I hope somebody's trapped. Did I want those people to die? No. I just wanted to perform what I practiced for. And I knew that we would give them 110%. Hey, man, we were full-blown squirrels on Engine 46. We were jumping in windows. We was going through doors. We had no accountability, but we knew somebody had a hose line, and we would all meet up somewhere else in that house later on and say, hey, man, everything go good? Everything go? Yeah, that's bad. But guess what? We knew whoever had that hose line was doing right, right? There's some pictures out there on the internet. You know what my job was a captain? I carried a big maul, and I had 46 welded on it backwards. And I'd come off that pumper running, and I would, bam! And after the fire, we would go show them who made forceful entry. We did it. We didn't do any of that silly, have y'all heard, man, I hope nobody teaches it, but what is that silly, through the lock, passive forcible entry? Man, I ain't got time to know passive forcible entry. The house is burning. Yeah. And I would jump through a window if it was burned out because guess what? That's where we'd start our search. Did it work? Yeah, it worked. How did it work? We had a good chief that let us do it. We trained on it. We knew every assignment every person had. We knew that guy was going to get that line in place. We didn't have to tell him how to do it. I didn't have to walk through and say, hey, pull the line, pull the line. He knew what to do. That ambulance crew knew to hump him slack. And guess what? It just all worked out. That's what being aggressive is. But guess where it starts? It starts at the chief level. Sets and expects high standards? Yes, he does. Guess what? To get in the fire service today, you can fog up a mirror and they'll hire you. Y'all know the fog test? Come on in. But you guys set these standards high. Higher than the city sets them. You train to them. You drill to them. And you're going to develop a good crew. You never lower them. And everything we do is action-oriented. You think about that. That's pretty deep stuff, right? Everything we do is action-oriented. Nothing passive about what a fireman does. Nothing. We pull ceiling like life depends on it. And we don't punch holes. And when we punch holes, it looks like that sheetrock's got chicken pox. No, we pull the whole ceiling down. We don't pencil the nozzle. We flow water. We'll squeegee it out. Everything is action-oriented. Type A personality. I cannot give up. I cannot lose. And chiefs, be there telling them, good job. That's me at every fire, man. That guy's got to come by me to do something. And guess what I do? I don't micromanage. I say, hey, man, be careful. Like this might be bad. Or, hey, man, you got this. Hey, I ain't going to send nobody else in there but you. Go up there and put it out and come back. What does that do to him? It lets him know that I'm watching, right? Am I hot and sweaty there? Yeah, I'm hot and sweaty there. But is that okay? Yeah, because we got showers at the fire station. I just go back and take a shower. If it's late at night, we'll buy donuts, drink coffee. If it's early in the day, we'll go buy hot dogs. We'll do something to celebrate. Stay ahead of the incident, guys. We can lead or we can fail on the decisions we make. Build a structure on your current and future needs? Yes. Chiefs are always looking down the road. We don't worry about what's going on. You got the attack. What do you ride? A pump or a truck? You got the attack. I don't worry about the attack. What do you ride? A Quint. I'm not even sure how to describe a Quint. But I think I like it. Right? It's got everything. It's got lights. It's got sirens. It's got water. It's got ladders. I probably like one. I've never been on one. But guess what? If you're on the Quint, whatever Quints do, I support you. Right? I support you. Who's on the ladder? Yeah, I support you because you're on the ladder. Guess what? I woke up and said, hey, man, we may have to ladder this building, or hey, we got to cut a hole. But, man, just run up there and tell me what you got. Guess what? He takes ownership in what he decides. Hey, if he makes a mistake, we'll talk about it. It's no big deal. Action-oriented everything we do. And we do with a purpose. And we do it the best of our abilities. And we do it like somebody's life depends on it every single day. Somebody said, oh, we don't run on fire grounds. That's your ass. Because if I didn't run on a fire ground, 35s was going to beat me in. 25s was going to beat me in. And that wasn't happening. Right? Our district was so aggressive that the chief called us in, sat down, and said, listen, man, with this backup line we do, if you're first in, he's first in. Captains, pack, 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 pack. You're first in ladder, I'm going to tell you either search or that. Second one's going to do that. Okay, pack, pack, pack. Everybody agree? Okay. And guess what? We live to those standards. Like if you're first in and I was the backup line, I didn't come in and start flowing water on your fire. That's what we did, right? All fires need search, ventilation, and a hose line. And I say 3 because this is my station. I want an attack line, a backup line, and a what-if line. That what-if line, if things go bad and we have to start flowing 2 lines, we got a quick backup line. How the decisions made, situation awareness, event-driven on predictions. What did I mean when I say predictions? And I'm going through a little bit of this fast because I want to really get to the tactics. We don't have long. Let's say apartments, for example. If we got an apartment burning right here and I got black smoke chugging down there, man, I'm going to predict I probably need to get down there, right? Or we've made this before, it didn't go so well. We're going to predict what we need to do. That's what this is. Anybody know who that guy is right there? That was the guy that was trapped on the 5th floor and almost died on the Houston Mayday you heard. He's a friend of mine. Works out pretty good. Me and him run together. His liver, kidneys, lungs, heat sensor, memory, all that's bad because of that fire. He just got cooked on the inside. So what we do is I always take a division, even if I'm first in, and I let him assume command, and that way it helps and he can extend his career. Good guy, though. Good fireman. Look at this. We got to get to the tactics. Don't hold your crews back. We already talked about that. Assignments, let them accomplishment. Can report. We talked about this yesterday. What does a can report mean? Can.
Conditions, actions, need.
You agree? You know what my definition of can is? I can't accomplish nothing because you keep talking to me, Chief. Give me an assignment and let me go, and I'll tell you if it's not going good. I'll tell you when it's done, and I'll ask you for something else. Stop asking guys working to give you a condition, because guess what? If I'm at the front door like I'm supposed to be, I see the smoke, I see the roof, I see the line, I know everything's going on. They don't have to tell me anything. If I'm parked down the road, and the only reason I don't come over here and talk to you guys is because of my clicker. If I'm down the road, then I may have to ask you for a can report. But if I'm involved, I don't have to ask you for a can report. Because guess what? I can see what's going on. Let's see if it works this far. Oh. Naturalistic leaders. These are your good ones. Chief Hooker. Where's his eyes? On the roof, right? Look at him. He has got us covered because good chiefs will look at the color of smoke, the roof, and the line movement. The line movement tells them they're making progress, A, or B, it could tell you that they missed it. Color of the smoke tells me that they're hitting the fire or it's getting worse. And then the roof, I'm worried about the roof falling on their head. That's what good chiefs do. You can't do that from the car in the AC. You've got to be up here by them. So these guys have experience. They have knowledge. Look here, they can adapt to a changing environment. Remember we were talking about burning stuff down in your head? If you have a mayday right in the middle of it, guess what you do? You just go to plan B. Because you have thought about that in plan B 10,000 times. You don't have to go ask somebody what to do. You don't have to get out a cheat sheet. This is just my opinion. If I can't run a one-alarm fire in my head, I am too far promoted in the fire department. So I don't have to have a command board to tell me what to do. Engine 1 attack, engine 2 backup, engine 3 RIT, ladder 1 vent, ladder 2 that. I know where everybody's at. Because what happens when we get to this person, what is this person not doing? Not watching the fire. And if we're not watching the fire, you guys are inside. And here's another pet peeve. And I tell you why guys do it. They know citywide people's listening to radio. Hey, how's it look outside? Hey, man, we know you're inside. Stop talking on damn radio. They just want everybody in the city to know they're inside. How's it looking? I promise you, if it ain't looking good, I'm going to tell you. Have a mutual agreement. You don't talk to them. They don't talk to you. And you accomplish good things. So this person has not much experience. This person right here compares different solutions. How do you have time to compare different solutions on the fire ground? You don't. I remember back in fire school 27 or 28 years ago, fire grows exponentially every minute we don't do something. And some of you guys that's been out of the academy a year or so, you can probably give me some good numbers that I don't know. But I do know that if I have to stop and ask people what to do and look at a command board and have this command board remind me to call the power company, the gas company, get a TAC channel, get a RIT team, I am failing the guys working. So you guys who are going and burning buildings every day, do you want this or do you want that old man that I showed you a minute ago that's got his radio and he's standing like I've done this 10,000 times? That's the guy you want. I got punked and all. So somebody goes, well, did you put that up there because it's a girl? No, man, it's just the only picture I could find with a command board. I don't care. So who can tell me when classical leadership might be important? Hazmat. Yeah, we slow down a little bit with hazmat, right? We have to follow a flow chart. I'm good with that. But in burning buildings, we don't have time to do that. Man, we're seconds. Man, we're moving. We're clicking. We should handle most every fire we make within 10 to 15 minutes. It should be under control. Now, we're going to overhaul a lot. We're going to clean up a lot. But really getting after it, hitting the parking brake, pulling a line, we should be making good progress unless we make these big old apartment fires. You know, some apartment fires we make, you know, we might be there an hour or two. Good firemen come off of that truck and they go to work without a whole lot of direction. Because where did they get the direction from? Training. We live it. Tactical priorities: rescue, confine the fire, protect property, and avoid fancy acronyms. Man, we got to get away from that. Who knows what the second W in water was hot is? Nobody. Does anybody know what RECOVES is? You might not now, but when a building's laying on your head, I promise you, you don't. Lunar, grab lives, where does it stop? People want to put their name on something, so they write some silly stuff. I don't have any idea what lunar is. I have no idea what grab lives is. I have no idea what rescue VES is. I have no idea what water was hot is. Do you know what I know? Water, ventilation, and search wins every time. Lots and lots and lots of waters. We have squeegees, big old holes, or a whole lot of fan. Period. And when we crawl through burning houses and we're legitimately looking for people with our hands, not the thermal imager, our hands, not sweeping with our feet. Your feet can't feel people. Your hands feel people. Babies, the most precious commodity in this world, you feel with your hands. Not an acronym. And I promise you, when that building was laying on me, I did not know what lunar is. We didn't even call a mayday. The guys on the outside saw it because it happened so quick. Where did it come from? Do I have to go back and say it? We know where it came from. The same people that took our damn uniforms away from us. The same people who took cutting holes from us. Because what did they do? They became multi-millionaires on a stolen ideal from California and put their name on it. Instead of going to prison for plagiarism, they became multi-millionaires. And they rode that little pony until the shoes came off. And what did they do? They came up with the blue card. Does anybody know what the blue card does to save lives? No. It's making people rich. And it's slowing us down from doing our jobs. Water, vent, and search. If you have the blue card, I understand. Don't get yourself fired because of me. Look here, survivability profiling. Man, we show this a lot of people say, oh, it's defensive. I write that off. All day long, I write that off. No, man, we don't write that off. And here's why we don't write that off. District 34 on the A shift, I write up there a lot because I like their chief. Looky here. There's a guy sleeping right there. They pulled him out and he lived. His toilet paper's right there. It didn't burn. His Sprite can. We probably did this damage right here. It was burning up here. He was down here. They went in and got him out. And anybody know what a honeypot is? You know, you laughed. His honeypot's probably around the corner. And some fireman probably stepped in it. So y'all know what a honeypot is now? Yeah. There's 5-gallon buckets laying everywhere, man. We don't have to go outside. That's why we don't do a survivability profiling. Some people say they would have went defensive on that. No, man. Fire coming out of something is a good thing. If we remember fire coming out is good, that's half the battle. Because guess what? If I've got 40 feet of fire shooting out of a front bedroom window, guess where 40 foot of fire is not? In the house. Right? If I cut a big old hole and it lights off like a jet engine going up in the sky, guess what? It did what it was supposed to do. First line, Between the fire and victim, we all know that, so we're going to rush through this, but we're going to get to the backup line. Can I borrow somebody? Who's a young guy? I don't want to bother an old guy. Who's young? What? Where's Hamster at, man? That Hamster's a cool guy. He called and offered me a coffee this morning, but I said, no, thanks. Where you at, Hamster? My God. Hamster's one of those guys. All right, who's next, man? Some young guy. Jump up here. Come here, brother. Come here. I'm not going to embarrass you, I promise. No, seriously, you're going to help me out. I'm glad I turned him down then. Hey, man, kind of get over there by that and just act like you're fighting fire like a wild Comanche Indian. So he's over there fighting fire, right? So him and his captain can do whatever he wants to that other guy. He's humping slack or something. Those guys are busy, right? I'm the second in engine. I'm the backup line. Guess what I become? I become the there, little Hamster. He probably went and got him something to eat and didn't even tell the rest of us. That's cool, man. Hey, thanks for the coffee. Thanks for the coffee offer. So anyway, so I got the backup line right here, right? I become interior writ to him. Remember, lost, disoriented, falling through the floor, all that stuff. We prevent that by being here, not outside. 6% of rescues are made by outside RIT teams. It goes up crazy on the inside. So I'm the second in engine, and I'm a backup line. Very disciplined. I don't come in and just start squirting water. So I'm the captain. I come up here and tell the captain, I say, hey, man, I got your backup line. All right, man, he moves back. Take a quick look. So now the truck crew comes in. You truck guys come in. Well, you truck guys are going to go over here and search away from the fire, right? So all I do is just reposition myself a little bit. You don't have a hose line. I got you covered. I can protect him. I can protect you, right? You see this picture right here. Do you know how I know which one's the attack line and which one's the backup line? The one on his knee is the attack line because we don't want any friction. We're humping slack to him. That backup line's not moving much. Now here's the key. Here's the key to the backup line. If an emergency happens, we have a mayday, we have a collapse, the chief says, hey man, back out, it's not looking good. Without any instruction whatsoever, this nozzleman turns the line on and goes to the ceiling and starts squirting. They turn their line off immediately because we're protecting them. You can go sit in your seat though. And so just basically say he's crawling down the line right now. We leave his line in place for a reason. We'll talk about that in a second. Next thing I do, as soon as I see them two come down the hose line, I stop worrying about them. They're okay. They're on a hose line. Remember? Smooth sailing, bump to the pump and all that stuff that we learned. So I look at, where'd I start? I start looking for that truck. And so I get real active on looking for that truck. So if I was a good officer with a thermal imager, I know that, hey man, you're doing an oriented search. You got two guys split up. I come there and say, hey captain, come this way. Because guess what? I have nothing else to do in that fire but stay oriented on how to get everybody out. Everybody else is working. So I said, captain, he gets his two guys. We come back out. When he gets back out, I find either that line because I came with a thermal imager, or I find the guy squirting water because I can hear it. I say, hey, captain, here's your way out. And I tell that first lineman that's squirting water, so all right, let's go, brother. And then he backs out flowing water. What did we just do? We took a bad situation and made it safe because we had a backup plan. That backup plan works. We got to get used to stop doing that checkbox and saying RID out there and making that RID on the inside. We've done it over and over and over and it works. So right here's what you don't do. You don't do this with a backup line. Oh, my bad. Here's a bad backup line. Then we'll talk about what they did wrong. Thank God the fire burnt the hose in two, put the fire out. A backup line should have never been up those stairs with them. That backup line should have been on the bottom of the step. Go ahead. 5 minutes? Oh, shit, I got one more video, guys, and we got to go. Hey, man, if you guys want any of this, I'll be around a while. I'll give you the rest of it. So right here is what you do when a backup line works. This is engine 46. This is a typical fire we made one morning. And look how good this worked with that. We're not going to talk about ventilation, but if you guys want the PowerPoint, you're welcome to it. We probably should have cut a hole, but we thought it was vented good. So these guys right here, see them stretching that line? They're bringing a backup line because they know they got to get in there and do a backup line. Watch what happens here in just a second. It's getting ready to happen right now. See how quick that turns white? Floor to ceiling, zero visibility, floor to ceiling, full of fire, orange all around us. The backup line comes on immediately because he's so well trained. He didn't have to have the captain to tell him to do it. We didn't stop fighting fire. I come out and tell this guy, man, we need another line in here. It's killing us. We go right back to work and we save this part of the house. That's what a backup line does. Anyway, all right, guys, I got to go. I appreciate it. If I can ever do anything for you guys, let me know. Be safe. You can get a hold of me, and if you want this PowerPoint, I'll send it to you. I'm not one of those smart guys. I'll have to get one of the young guys at the station send it, but you can go through and you can figure out ventilation, what we do on ventilation. And if not, maybe I get to come back next year and we'll do the truck part of it. Anybody got any questions?
Are you able to go back to one of the beginning slides where your contact information is?
Yeah, I think. Are you punking me here? Hey guys, I'm on Facebook, Mo Davis. I live in the country, so if I don't call you right back, it's not that we just don't have good phone service down there. Hey, and while we're on this, you see this right here? You see this? I don't care he's hollering at me. Let him holler at you, because guess what? My old Marine buddy right here, he's like, man, Mo's taking a good one for me. This guy thinks it's funny, but you can let him do it. You guys just be good officers. Anyway, hey, thank you guys. If I can ever do anything for you, let me know. Y'all going to have the rest of the day good. Thanks, brother. I thought I could get there. No, man. Thank y'all.